Mr. Chairman, and panel, thank you for being here. Mr. Connor, I was encouraged actually in your opening statement when you commented that the Bureau wants to work to effectively use its resources, but it couldn't help but remind me that last year the House voted 355 to 51 to ban the Bureau of Reclamation and other federal agencies from offering cash incentives to citizens for completion of surveys. This amendment was inspired by your agency's use of sending $2 bills to 10,400 households across the country to entice people to be able to respond to questions about removing the Klamath dams. Of the recipients who did not respond, better than 1,200 received follow-up packets promising an additional $20 for the completion of the survey. This survey and the cash included with the costs added up to hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars. In retrospect, would you approve of this cash-laced survey today?
We are certainly looking at the processes by which we do non-use surveys. The surveys themselves we do view as valuable. They've been long used since the 1983 principles and guidelines, but we are looking...
No problem with surveys, but paying for them, and given your opening comment on effectively using resources, is this a wise use of taxpayer dollars?
I think it's a very fair point, Congressman, to ask that we relook at how we do those surveys.
Great. Are you aware of any surveys that are going to be cash incentivized that you're planning for this fiscal year?
I am not aware of any.
You aren't aware of any. Great.
But I'm going to check and follow up on the record for you, sir.
Okay. If you would, we'd certainly appreciate that. Mr. Connor, do you approve of every proposed expenditure in the budget that you mentioned?
No, I'm sure that I don't approve every expenditure. I am heavily involved in putting together the overall expenditure, the budget itself, and reviewing what those expenditures are to be. I have not reviewed every.
So you see an opportunity to actually be able to generate savings?
Oh, absolutely. We've been looking at savings and cost-cutting measures for the entire time that I've been with the Bureau of Reclamation.
Great. Could you possibly come up with, say, just a nominal 2% reduction in your budget?
Well, we've been forced to come up with greater than 2% reduction through the budget processes and the appropriations processes, and we've looked prospectively at how we can reduce our administrative costs. Absolutely.
Great. Some of the ideas that you have, could you make sure that those are transmitted to this committee that you were just mentioning?
Certainly.
Okay, we'd certainly appreciate that. And if you give us an idea again on those specifics on the budget cuts, we'd certainly appreciate you following up on that. Did have another question in regards to some of the aging infrastructure that we were seeing in regards to what's going on with the Bureau of Reclamation. We all know that we've got the aging infrastructure, and in my reading, on page 51 of your budget justification, cuts all funding from reclamation-wide aging infrastructure. Is that correct?
We do not have the aging infrastructure line item in the 2014 budget that we did in the 2013 budget. So yes, that particular line item was zeroed out.
Okay, so that's zeroed out. So how does Reclamation plan on addressing the aging infrastructure needs?
We have many avenues to address our aging infrastructure, and I share your views that this is an important part of our budget. As a threshold matter, I would say that in the 2013 budget, aging infrastructure we generally deal with through those RACS program, rehabilitation, additions, and replacements, and that was funded, I think, about $37 million in the 2013 budget. It's funded at $57 million in the 2014 budget. So it's substantially increased, and what we found in the discussions with the appropriations committees and others last year was there was a concern about a generic fund being there to address aging infrastructure rather than itemized by project. This year's budget, we go back to itemizing it by project. To the larger question of how we fund, a large majority of our identified $2.6 billion in major rehabilitations that are needed are funded off budget through direct funding agreements with power users, water users. Probably about a third of that is funded in that manner. A number of additional are either funded through upfront payments by the Bureau of Reclamation that get put into reimbursement contracts, and then those are the different ways that we've done this. So we're trying to expand.
To follow up just a little bit on the ranking member's comments in regards to the importance of hydropower. the benefit of H.R. 678, which just recently passed the House, to be able to help generate a revenue stream to be able to address some of the aging infrastructure needs?
That was your bill?
Yes, sir.
Congressman, yes. I think we were supportive of that bill. I think we had one issue. I think that issue was addressed on the floor of the House of Representatives. We're looking at that. We're excited about the prospects of that bill.
Thank you so much.
Gentleman from Oregon.